Good evening, YouTube. DutyRon back again here with another video. As you guys know, I am a retired New York City police detective. I speak about all things true crime, PSAs, all different crime related topics here on my channel. If you're not subscribed, please take the time now to hit the notification bell, hit the like button, give it a thumbs up. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I have a wonderful, wonderful treat for you guys. I have a great friend of mine who I worked with in the trenches in PSA 2 in the New York City Police Department back in the fighting 90s era. I got a great friend of mine on Zoom tonight. Welcome in Joey Brooklyn. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Joshua H, for being in here. Astro, Haterade, all of the channel members, everybody who supports this channel on social media by sharing and positively interacting. I want to say a quick thank you to each and every one of you. I know you guys are big supporters of law enforcement and your local military, and I thank you so much for that. Tonight, I do have a special guest. His name is Daniel Sprague, and we have spoken briefly about this. He was down in Nashville, Tennessee, celebrating his big 50th birthday, and he had an incident where someone mistook his hat for a Make America Great Again hat. It was a Making 50 Great Again hat. And he wound up getting assaulted. And I have Danny, who was kind enough to come on in and join us. So let me just bring Danny in. There he is. He's joining us live by video Zoom. Guys, I want to introduce you my good friend, a retired New York City police detective right here. Danny Sprague served 20 plus years in the New York City Police Department as a police officer in the housing police, also a elite NYPD ESU cop. Danny, thank you for joining.
Thank you, Ron, for having me on. Good to hear from you again.
Hey, man, likewise, brother. It's always great to see you. Danny is not only a staunch supporter for law enforcement and his military, he also is a pipe player in the pipes and drums for the New York City Emerald Society Band. Danny has performed and came to celebrate my mom's funeral mass just this May. And I want to say thank you from the bottom of my family's heart. My brother's a retired lieutenant. We have law enforcement in my family. It runs deep. And what you did for me with my mom, it was just tremendous. I called him up, on a whim and said, "Hey, Danny, I need you." And he came right out to the church and played the bagpipes. He also sent one of his great friends to my father's funeral in 2014. We have been friends going on 26 years or so. Danny, when did you come
Yes.
out of the police academy?
I was in the January class of 92, and then I was in PSA 2 in June, the end of June, early July for 92.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, I came out in 91, so I could still call you a rookie because I came out a little bit before you. But
Yeah, yeah.
again, ladies and gentlemen, Danny was kind enough to come on to tell his story. And I'm just going to give a quick synopsis of what happened. And I want to show a news report, a news clip that Danny did with one of the local affiliates. He was interviewed, I think, by numerous different outlets, but basically Pix 11 and a Nashville affiliate. The Nashville affiliate was a smaller clip. I'm going to show you basically the News 11 first. But Danny, again, your 50th birthday. I saw the pictures on Facebook. I was happy to see you guys out there, a bunch of retired guys having a good time, celebrating the big 5-0. And welcome to the club, by the way. I'm already 6 years into that establishment. So I got you beat by 6. But yeah, you're down there. Your wife threw you this surprise 50th with all the boys and just having a great time. And some misguided subhuman took it upon themselves to tap you on the shoulder and give you a quick cold cock right to the side of the face. And I could see it's still swollen up there too.
Yeah, it's still healing.
Yeah. So Danny, just tell them, I mean, don't tell the whole story because we're going to go into the news clip, but basically give them a little bit of what happened to you there.
Oh, just down there, like you said, having a great time celebrating my 50th. And my wife was surprising me with people, coming down. I thought it was going to be a trip just by ourselves. And throughout the whole course of the weekend, people were just popping in, and, I was shocked to see everybody there. But at just one point in the night, like you said, some some female wasn't too happy with my hat, I'm assuming, and she decided to speak out on it, but not in the way that most people would assume that she should have spoke out.
There you go. I mean, just to me, it was so troubling to actually see it for the, as seasoned law enforcement guys, we've seen everything. But when I saw the picture of you, and we're going to show that in a minute, when I saw the picture of you with the hat on and the blood coming down your face, it's all over the news, all over, the internet. I myself gasped. I was just like, whoa, what the hell is going on here? And, it's just a testament of how crazy our society has become over politics. And, listen, whatever your political party is, what makes America great is that we all have the right to choose what party we support. And at the end of the day, nobody expects to be assaulted for supporting a president of the United States. Nobody's getting socked in the face if they're supporting Mike Bloomberg or Bernie Sanders, and nobody should be getting socked in the face if they support the Bushes, the Trumps, the whoever. It just doesn't matter. I'm going to segue into this clip. I want all of you guys to listen to this. Please share this onto your social media. Put it onto Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and get the message out there. This happened again in Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm going to segue off of this.
Welcome to the DutyRon family.
Thank you for joining DutyRon. All right, here we go, folks.
Birthday celebration ended in quite a knockout, literally.
Yeah, a former NYPD officer still recovering after being attacked in a bar for what he was wearing. Daniel Sprague joining us this morning to share his story. Good morning to you. We could see the bruise on the left-hand side of your face there, a little bit of a bruised eye. So explain to what exactly happened. You were celebrating your 50th birthday and you were wearing this hat.
Yes.
It says "Make 50 Great Again." Although some people might see it at a distance and think it's the "Make America Great Again."
Yes.
Is that kind of what prompted this?
That's what we're assuming, because that weekend I went down there with my wife, and it was just supposed to be us for our 50th
To Nashville.
My 50th birthday to Nashville, and she surprised me with my friends coming in. So she bought me the hat and the shirt and everything. The shirt said "Making America Great Since 1970," the year I was born. It was a black shirt with an American flag. And in the afternoon, we met up with a bunch of my friends who made it in at that point, and we all went out to eat and do different things. And then we were hanging out in this one bar listening to all the country music, and people all day long were, looking at the hat, liking it. Some you could see didn't really like it because of the distance, but when they got closer, they saw that it was "Make 50 Great," and they'd walk by and say "Happy Birthday." So it was all nice. Everybody.
So what
was
happened? How'd you get hit?
So as the night was going on, and like I said, people all saying it, we're all about the place, and I get grabbed, which I was getting grabbed because we were with everybody. Hey, talk to this, take a picture, do things like that. So I was in the middle of a conversation with somebody, and when I was getting spun around, I'm finishing my sentence, and as I start turning around, I wind up getting punched in the face by this lady that I don't recall ever seeing her at all in the bar. She was behind me, and
So you had no conversation with her prior?
No, not.
So you're saying this is totally unprovoked?
Totally, just turned around and hit me.
Did she say anything after?
She was grabbing my hat as she was hitting me, and then she was just yelling, "How dare you? How dare you?" So I would assume, and she's holding the hat like that she didn't like the hat, and she either didn't take the time to read it, or, I have no idea, But
you reported it to police. What did they do?
Yes, well, the security in the bar was right on top of it.
I'm just going to stop it right here so you guys can see this injury to his face. Again, he's got a black eye, and it looks like the left side of his cheek, high up towards his eye, has a deep gash that goes down to the bone. So this woman hit him with such force that he really is opened up here. And this is days later. You're doing an interview, and it looks like he was in a battle. So I'm going to let it continue.
Separated us. They took me towards the back, and then they took her to the front. And I told them that I want the police here, and I'm going to press charges on her. And they informed me that she was gone. So we did call the police. We were waiting. It must have been a busy night, and I decided I would just go in the morning and make the report. So I made the report in the morning.
So I want to point out, you are in fact a President Trump supporter.
Yes, I am. Yes.
And what's the takeaway then from this? You know, you were obviously saying that you were injured in all of this, but that you should be able to have conversations and difference of opinions with people
and
without
wear what
having
you want
violence.
to wear, right?
Yes, I mean, you know, I was not the Trump. I'm an avid Trump supporter from the day he came down the escalator. I always said he was going to be the guy. I knew day one if I, you know, I could have made money if I betted on it.
Yep.
You know, but I knew that you know the hat was a great slogan and all that, but I also know it was creating problems. But I didn't think that I should not wear it because of that. But I just never went out and bought one. When my wife gave me this, I thought this was great. What a nice parody on it, play on words, and obviously a lot of people did like it. So by this happening, it just you know, there's no conversation, there's no ability. You know, I wore the hat for the rest of the weekend. You know, it empowered me in that aspect. It wasn't going to make me, you know, hide that I turned 50, unless she was offensive about that. Maybe she's 49, you know, and her birthday's coming up. But but the when later on that weekend there was two couples, African American, coming towards me, and I could see that they saw the hat, and the girls showed that they weren't too happy with it. When they got close, they read it, and they wished me happy birthday.
Right.
I actually leaned in, I was talking to them, I said, thank you. I said, you didn't like the hat? No, I thought it was the other hat. And I was like, but I said, what was wrong with the other hat? She's like, it's offensive. And she goes, you really should take it off. I said, well, last night, I said, thank you for, you know, saying happy birthday. Last night, a girl punched me in the face on it. She expressed that was uncalled for, and, you know, should never happen. But as she was doing, that's why you should take that hat off, because of that. And I said, but why? It's offensive. And back and forth, offensive. She couldn't give me a reason why it's offensive. She just stuck with the word offensive. So she went about her night. We were hanging out, having a great time. As she's leaving, I just said, hey, enjoy the rest of your weekend and all this. She goes, I really just wish you'd take the hat off. So I said, why again? She says, offensive. I said, but you can't give me a reason. If you gave me a reason, even if I disagreed with your reason, if you were able to change the word from offensive and explain it, I would have taken the hat off, because I wouldn't have wanted to make you that.
Right.
So nobody wants to have a conversation. They want
So
to go
that's what
on.
you want to do with this.
They
You want to
wanna
share
go-
it so people can have those conversations.
Well, I want to, yes, that people can get a conversation going, and you don't have to agree with people. You can have that debate and argue and walk away like, hey, I agree to disagree,
Right.
you know? Or I also want this girl to be found, and I'm hoping that detectives are getting closer to do it, so that we can show that you're not going to get away with it anymore.
There's no surveillance in the...
There is.
Okay.
They should be going through all that.
All right.
All right, Daniel, thank you for coming in and sharing your story with us.
do
We
appreciate
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hope you know, that Shiner gets cleared up pretty.
Okay, so that's one clip. I want you guys to take a peek at the second one. This is from a local Nashville affiliate. So I'm gonna play this real quick for you guys, and then we'll come right back on to the video.
Daniel Sprague was at the Stage Bar on Broadway, sporting gifts his wife gave him for his 50th birthday bash.
People were just coming up to me and, you know, loving the little, you know, wordplay on the hat and taking pictures and wishing me a happy birthday.
The red cap with white letters reading, "Making 50 Great Again," was clearly too much for one woman at the bar.
At one point, a female came up from behind me, spun me around, and punched me in the face, and then grabbed my hat off my head and was just yelling, "How dare you!"
These photos show the damage done.
I mean, she gave me a really nice little gouge there. I would assume that she had, you know, a ring, or she maybe even had a set of keys or something to get it, because it is pretty deep and it goes to the bone.
Sprague, a retired police officer from New York, filed a police report. He says someone needs to make a stand.
This is wrong. We can't just go around as a society because somebody has a political opinion that, you know, that doesn't match theirs.
Sprague says the woman needs help. He'll press charges if they can find her.
She has issues. I feel bad for her.
His message to the woman?
Happy birthday would have.
Okay, so there is a photo of Danny short period of time after this happened. He continued on like a warrior, having a great time with his friends, a bunch of retired cops, retired detectives and cops, and he went on about his day. I'm going to segue back into Danny. Danny, what a tremendous interview that you did. Tremendous with both of those outlets, and I know that you were going on other things. I just didn't want to drag it out here. The message you sent was clear and concise. This woman has severe issues. She has obviously anger issues, but this is bigger than just that one person, because this is happening to a lot of people throughout the country. Anybody that goes and expresses their political opinion is now subject to assault. Is that what we're coming to? And I know that's the message you were trying to send.
Yes, exactly. I was, you know, we can't just react in our lives because something doesn't, go our way or whatnot. Going based on, this incident and what you're just saying, that that she has issues. You know, Me and you, we worked together. We worked in a pretty tough area. We put on that uniform every day. And every day we knew exactly why people were looking at us. Some people were looking at us because they were trying to, see where we were and where they were going to act, or people are looking at us like, thank God they're here, and and they can go about their day partially safe, that they can not worry about certain things. I go into another area, and I know you did some volunteer work with the fire department, so you go into different areas. Everybody has different things, but like, I had the kilt on, so a lot of times with me wearing that kilt, and you get different looks. You get people looking at you because they know what the kilt represents, and that it's part of your history. You have some people look at you that, what is this grown man wearing, and what most people would say is a skirt, but it's a kilt.
Right.
So you'd get those, and you'd get curious questions or whatnot. When I put on that red hat that day, because like I said, we went down there. It was a 50th birthday party. My wife said, we're just gonna, not a 50th birthday party, it was my 50th celebration, and she said, it's just gonna be us. But
Right.
then the day that people were gonna be rolling in and we were gonna meet some of them, she had all this group activity planned, and then she was like, you're not gonna wear the shirts I bought you and the hat and stuff. So of course I put it all on, and I had a shirt saying "Making America Great Since 1970." It was a black shirt with an American flag on it. And then it was the red hat that said, "Make 50 great," which resembled what would be a MAGA hat. Like, so this is the hat and everything, "Make
Right.
50 great."
There it is.
So
Yeah.
once I put that on, like, I could I could see a completely different way. Like, and I'm used to people looking at me, like I said, and
Right.
you're
You
used
were
to people.
reading the whole thing as you got a vibe, right?
Yes, and a lot of people, you could see really just it's really made them proud, and and they and encouraged them, like that there's supporters out there, like they were like, oh, I love that hat, and like some people like, oh, I can't wear mine, but everyone who's coming up close, they were saying happy birthday, and even a lot of the people who you could see when they saw it, it triggered them a different way. They weren't happy with it. But as they got closer and they read it, they said, hey, happy birthday and stuff. So for the most part, people were, whether they were torn on why they liked it or didn't like it, at least when they got close to me, they would acknowledge, happy birthday, and keep going. That was going throughout the entire day.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah. So I mean, this is the sentiment throughout the United States, and I think it's also throughout the world. I mean, you could probably have been in the UK and got a similar response over there. You could have been in a different country and maybe had a similar thing happen. But here in the United States, I mean, I just did a quick search an hour ago for people being assaulted wearing "Make America Great" hats, and there was a plethora of different incidents throughout all the states, up in New England, in Arizona, in Washington, Florida. They were all over the place. So there was just so many of these reports of people being assaulted, eggs being thrown at them, paint, um, just all kinds of craziness. And I say this is like, like you said, we as law enforcement professionals, and I told you, Danny, before we went live, there was a law enforcement professional it was in Florida. He was coming home, and his wife asked him to stop off at Target to get some cleaning supplies. And he had shorts on. He had a thin blue line shirt like this, and he put a hat, "Make America Great" hat on. As he was checking out, the person behind him said, "You better take that effing hat off, or you're gonna have a problem." And he said, and this is a cop who was shot in the line of duty previous, underneath his vest, shot in the line of duty, never thought he would return. He finally returns to duty, and 2 weeks later, this is what he gets at a target. And he
Yeah.
wound up turning around. The guy tried to take his hat off of him. They had to, it didn't go as well for this person because they got arrested on the scene. The woman it was a husband and wife, well dressed with a 5-year-old kid with them. And the husband took it upon himself to
Thank you for subscribing.
go near his personal space and went to go grab his hat. At that point, he turned him around. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. He turned the guy around, put him up against the plate glass window. 911 was called. When 911 came, the wife said that the off-duty cop, but she didn't know it was a cop, she said that he attacked her husband. They went to the videotape, and the guy got collared. So, again, you're having a celebration. It's clear on that hat. It says make 50 great again. It doesn't say making America great again. Okay, the colors and the lettering on the stitching is what were the triggers for these people. And we're in a society now where social media and smartphones and nobody is interacting with each other. They're just looking and not paying attention. If this person or whoever was in this group really took a good look at you, they would have known that that was not what it was. And
Absolutely.
But
Yeah,
they didn't even take the time to do that.
No, they didn't. They came up from behind me. Now, I'm sure at some point they were in front of me, I would assume, because of where I was, situated in the bar, is in the back end of the bar. There was a back entrance, so they very well could have come in through the back and then just caught me on maybe one of my turnarounds where just talking to everybody.
Right.
But, there's very good possibility that they came in from the front of the bar and they saw it. And from a distance, maybe I can give them that they thought it was because they couldn't, get the words yet.
Right.
But once they got close enough, and if they were behind me, then they should have been close enough where they were able to read it. So I would just, and giving them the benefit of the doubt that
Right.
they were a distance away when they first, got sparked by it.
And let me say this too. There's so many positive messages in the chat. I'm going to read a couple of them in a few seconds. But let me say this, Danny, and I'm not saying this because we're brothers in blue and, we're good friends. The way you handle this was complete class. Like you, hands down, and this is the sentiment in the chat as well. I'm reading the live chat. You handle this like a true gentleman, and you've always been a gentleman ever since day one when I met you. As a matter of fact, you're a great painter because you used to paint the PSA like there was no tomorrow. But you're a gentleman. You are a great father, a great husband, and a great retired New York City police detective. So
Thank
here's some of the messages in the chat. G.A. Peach says, "Thank you, Danny, for your service. I'm sorry this happened to you. It's not right, and I hope she is found and prosecuted. This happens every day, and violence is not the answer." MJ Doris says, "Danny, too bad no one did a citizen's arrest." Other messages that are coming in, just thanking you for your service, thanking you for your police service. So again, I appreciate all the great comments in the chat, and I'm going to segue off of this story here to talk a little bit about an organization that Danny runs called With Arms Wide Open. Now, I'm going to let him explain this to you guys, but it is an organization that he runs. He's co-chairman with Merritt Riley, who is another police officer who we both are friends with and worked with in PSA 2 back in the 90s. We were out there when the crack epidemic was on fire. So we were out in the trenches together. But both of these guys, Danny and Merritt, have children with special needs. And this organization, With Arms Wide Open, I'm going to put a link in my description down below. And I'm also going to share their website and their Facebook page with you guys. They do great things for family members within the police department. And I think, outside of the NYPD, you could correct me on that, Danny. But I'll let you take it. With Arms Wide Open. Danny, go ahead.
Well, I mean, there's a little bit of a connection there too, is that, this individual was triggered by a hat, the color of a hat. And, you know, most people would agree that a color shouldn't trigger you off to rage where you can't control yourself and stuff. But like, if that does, I really feel bad for her, because what is she going to do when a real life crisis hits her? So like you said, my partner, a good friend of me and you, Merritt Riley, he has a 17-year-old son who has cerebral palsy. He's nonverbal, wheelchair bound, non-ambulatory, and Aiden, and he's a twin brother. So he has a twin that's Merritt, and he was born and he had some issues at birth and swelling on the brain, and as a result of everything, he has cerebral palsy, and like I said, he's nonverbal and all. Merritt's been dealing with this for years and going through a lot of stuff, and not even telling his close friends, all of us. And you asked him how things are going. Oh, things are great. Things are great. But he was dealing with the stuff because he wasn't going to burden everyone else. He just thought, well, this is my thing. And I would say probably when his son was around like 8, 9 years old, he asked me like, "Hey, listen, I'm thinking of starting a group up, and trying to help police officers, have a little support group where they come and talk and stuff." And I was all on it. I thought it was great. And we talked about it a lot, but we just never got it off the ground. And then, when my wife was, pregnant with my fourth child, we got a phone call from the doctor saying that, your son has, the test came back positive. Your son has Down syndrome, and come in and we're going to terminate. So obviously we didn't terminate. We found a new doctor. We have a gorgeous son, Owen, and, he's changed our life. And once I got my wife, set, and I
Thank you
felt
for
that
the
she was
super
in a better
love.
place, and we were still in the pregnancy, she told me to go out and see Merritt. So everything Merritt thought of, everything he dreamed about with this foundation came true that night with me, because they were the first ones to say, "Thank you very much." I mean, not thank you, congratulations, on your child. And we talked about it and just talked about the positives of life and how everything's gonna be better. You're gonna see, trust me, this isn't a bad hand. This is, you got the right hand there. So we then started this foundation, and the foundation helps. We predominantly focus on police officers, and the reason for that is because police officers usually tend to go out there and they're helping everybody every single day. They're not talking to their partners about what's going on in their own life. They're more focused with doing their job, and then they go home and they feel that they're not doing enough for their family, and it becomes stressful for them. So, but we do help outside the family, outside the job, and help where we feel that it's needed, that certain circumstances, and we would help. We offset with course for new wheelchairs, course for therapies, prescriptions. A lot of people don't realize that even though we have our medication, our prescription plan, that the world, especially in seizures, they change medicine so frequently trying to find the right medicine, that the insurance companies, knowing this, they still just deny it. They deny it because they're like, oh, well, he just got this medicine, so we'll only pay for this medicine, even though it's creating, more seizures for the child, and you have to get them off immediately.
Sure.
They're like, well, we paid it, so it's a 30-day wait until that prescription's up. Then you could change prescriptions. So it's coming out of parents' pockets. So we try to offset the cost of that and stuff, and certain therapies are considered not FDA approved, and they don't think that they're worth it. That later on there's a surgery that can correct it, but the surgery just makes the child worse. So you need the therapies to try to avoid ever having that surgery.
Surgeries, yeah,
So,
yeah.
so there's so many different little variables that we wind up helping with, and some of it is just a mere being able to talk to the person, and letting them know that we're out there, and just little stuff like how to navigate the school system, how to navigate when they're getting older and stuff like that.
And just support, support from
Yes.
families who are and have been through and are currently dealing with, you know, life with a child that has special needs. And you know what? So many people, as you were putting this together, so many people can't deal with everyday life things. nobody here has any idea of the trials and tribulations, the ups and downs a family goes through, like yourself and like Merritt, and there's tens of millions of, there's hundreds of thousands of families like that out there. So I think this is a great organization that you guys put together. I'm going to show it. We're going to segue off onto that. I'm going to show everybody the website real quick so you guys can see it. Whoops, there it is. And this is the With Arms Wide Open website. This is directly to it. It's NYPDWAWO.org. And it gives you a little bit about what the great things that these guys are doing. And anybody that has given Super Chat during the course of this broadcast and has donated to the DutyRon channel, I will be forwarding those donations of Super Chat or any PayPal donations straight to With Arms Wide Open.
Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you.
Anything that comes in during this broadcast. Dawny Color, Guy and Jackie, thank you for your donation. I greatly appreciate that. It's going to go straight to With Arms Wide Open. I'm going to give you this is Merritt Riley, the chairman. It's going to give you a little bit of a background on him. I encourage everybody to go and visit this website. If someone could copy that and put it in the chat and put a link in there, so some of my moderators, if you could put it in. Merritt Riley, again, I've known Merritt just as long as I know Danny, maybe a little bit longer, not much, but just a little bit longer. We were out on patrol together in PSA 2, and we definitely were out there in the trenches. And Merritt is still out there doing the job to this day. This is his story, and then you could click onto Danny's. I'll never call him Daniel Sprague. I'll always call him Danny. Danny boy to me. So here's his story. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but on the right, you could see the Stephen McDonald Scholarship Fund. Stephen McDonald, as you know, was a police officer who was shot in Central Park a very, very long time ago and recently passed away. His son is a sergeant, I think now, or maybe a lieutenant.
Yes, sergeant.
Sergeant in warrants. He worked in the warrant squad where I worked. Johnny Comer worked with him when he was a detective, and then he got promoted. His dad passed away recently, and there's a scholarship fund that these guys are putting together here within their organization. Let me look at the Facebook page so I can show you guys that real quick. Where is it? There it is. So can anybody just join this page, Danny?
Yes, the page for the Facebook is an open page, and we monitor what can go on it, but it's basically all we want inspirational stuff for children, new training and therapies we put out there. It's just to be a resource page for the for the special needs community.
Awesome. I love this picture. I'm looking for Merritt. I don't see him, but I see you. Where is Merritt there? It's a picture at what you guys did, the polar bear plunge or something like that?
Yes, yeah, Merritt should be there somewhere in the center.
I see you. You're leaning over. I see you there. Okay. Yeah, he's right behind you. He's right behind you and to the right. I see him now. I see him. Dari D, thank you for the $20 super chat. That will be going to NYPD With Arms Wide Open. I'll be sending Danny a check for any of the super chat that comes in here, and thank you to each and every one of you who has donated during the course of this broadcast. So yeah, go on to their Facebook page. Only inspirational messages. They monitor this closely. Raise disease awareness event they got coming up February 27th. Please, if you can, donate. Danny, do you have donation links?
Yes, it's on our website.
Okay, on
that you can donate
NYPDArmsWideOpen.org. Let me see if I can copy and paste that and put it in the chat. Give me 2 seconds, Danny. Danny, I am not technologically advanced, so
Me
I'm
neither.
a little slow when it comes to this stuff, but I'm going to do it right now. Copy. Put that right here. Of course, I have to sign in. So I can't do it. If somebody could copy and paste that NYPDWAWO.org and then put that in the chat, we both greatly will appreciate that. All right, let me get Danny back up. All right, Danny boy. So we're 35 minutes into this. Anything else that you want to put that we might have missed in regards to your great foundation that you guys got going on, the organization? Arms wide
Not
open.
just that it's it's out there to just try to bring awareness to these children, to get the parents to realize not to keep them tucked away. Don't go someplace because you feel that, well, it's only going to hold people back. We try to spread the awareness, not just for the parents, not just for the children, but for also the general public. Like, we want everybody, sort of like our political environment, to get along. Like,
Right.
you have a lot of parents that they take this as a as something bad and negative, and then they don't go to restaurants because their child acts up a little, or they don't go someplace because of the equipment they got to bring and how bulky it is. And
Right.
then you have other people who don't go, that stare, and instead of just listen. Everybody can, you see something, it's going to catch your eye, but
Right.
don't stare. Like, if you find yourself staring at that exact moment, you find yourself staring, you should go over and either offer assistance or say, hey, how you doing? I'm so and so, and what's your name? X.
Right.
And don't ask the parent, ask the child.
Right.
you
Right.
know if if the child can't speak, the parent will speak. But when you ask your next question, it's directed at the child again.
Right.
So that you want them to feel that they're your equal. And with parents that are afraid to take their kids out, it's just, when they get out there, treat them like any other child. Like, if they do something wrong, you tell them no. If you tell them that you to behave, but you don't stress that they're not listening to you. That they might be overstimulated, like
Right.
any child. you know
That's a fantastic message to send out, Danny. And there's some people who just are kind of ignorant to it, not being mean, but they just don't realize it. So I think it's
Absolutely.
important to get that message out to people that, hey, these are human beings, and if they can't verbalize to you, you still need to address them. And like you said, the parent will take over, or
Yes.
their caregiver, or whoever's with them, aunt, uncle, whatever the case may be. These are, beautiful, loving children. And I mean, I remember some years ago, Merritt had a slogan, and I don't recall, and Merritt's going to kick my ass for this, but it was something like,
Being challenged is inevitable, but being defeated is optional.
there you go. Thank you. So, awareness is the main, focus here, is that everyone should realize that, you, the staring, it's just outright rude. And, maybe human nature, some people just, get caught up in a moment, but you got to catch yourself and reel yourself in. And, just do the right thing. Like you said, you know, donations, talking, getting involved, and educating yourself. Educating is tremendous. So many people just don't know how to act. And if they listen and educate themselves, it makes things a lot better. And this goes full circle to the Make America Great, making 50 great again. Whole thing ties into uh, everything that's gone on. So I'm going to go to the chat. If anybody has any questions for Danny, I'm going to pick the questions. I know they're going to come by fast, so I apologize in advance if I don't get to all of them. I want to say a special thank you to everyone who has super chatted during the course of this broadcast. The fundage that came in with those super chats, I will be repurposing it straight over to Danny's organization and Merit. And I say thank you so much to each and every one of you, and I know Danny does too. Uh,
Yes.
let's see, any questions coming on the chat. I know there'll be some questions about. I saw a few that they asked about the video. Is there any video from the detectives from the assault, Danny?
As of right now, last time I talked to the detective, he was going to be going to the bar to pull the video. He said that it just depends, but it's not that they're trying to make it difficult. Sometimes they give the video right away. Other times they just ask them to get a judge to sign a subpoena.
Right.
But he says he's never had them where they outright said you're not going to get it, and challenged them and made them jump through hoops. So it's just a
Right.
matter of waiting. I was talking to him on Friday with the holiday weekend, so I tried him today, and I'll try him again. Hopefully he gets back to me sometime tomorrow.
All right. Hopefully you get something from them. Jack's mom in the chat. Jack's mom in the chat. Now, guys, Danny can't see the chat because he's on Zoom. I'll get him educated on YouTube so he can grab his wife's phone next time and he can see the chat because I will have him back on. Jack's mom says, Danny, how old is Owen? They want to know.
Owen is 6 years old.
So his beautiful son is 6 years old. And if you go over Danny's Facebook page, which I'm sure is either private or public, but if you friend him,
No, it's public. It's
okay.
Daniel Patrick.
So if you go to Daniel Patrick, do you mind if I put that up there, Danny? I'll put it up.
That's fine.
Go over to his Facebook page and friend him, and I'm sure there's pictures of his beautiful family on there. I mean, I have pictures of my kids all over mine as well. So Sophia Howard, who's a channel member, and so is Jack's mom. They say, thank you, Danny, for your service and bringing your story to us. We appreciate you. God bless you and your family. Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's see if there's any more questions. I'm going to do a couple of DutyRon super chat seems to be acting up on me. Guy and Jackie, you did give send a super chat earlier, but I was in the middle, so I couldn't. But I heard the notification, so thank you for your super chat. 6 is an amazing age. Yes, Stephanie, it is. 6 is a wonderful age.
Yes.
Happy belated birthday from Joshua H., our producer. He's in the chat. So Josh, who you met before we went live, he said happy belated. Yes. Super chat was acting up. It's okay. We'll get them. They'll come through. Red Like Wine says, thank you, Danny, with a heart. And Kathy Sicilian Temper, she's straight out of Brooklyn. She says, Danny, may God bless you and your son. That's
thank you.
That's from Kathy Sicilian. Kathy from Brooklyn. She happens to be a friend of mine, Danny. I know her personally. Her and her husband, Joey, are in the chat, and they're good old Italian folks, and they're both Eucharistic ministers. So they are holy religious people.
Very
so
good.
Sending you a lot of love and respect.
They get a kick out of Owen at church. He goes up and pretends he's a Eucharistic minister. Oh. He stands right next to everybody pretending to hand out the Eucharist.
Wow. God, that's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Guy and Jackie, who has donated during this chat, says, happy 50th birthday, Danny, with a bunch of happy birthday cakes. Trevor JP says, thank you, Danny, for your service.
Thank you.
A bunch of really, really great stuff coming in, all positive stuff. Jack's mom says, DutyRon super chat is not enabled. Several people have given super chat, so I think it is enabled. Check it again. Happy 50th birthday from Beth to Danny, and thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
Everybody's just thanking you. Red Like Wine says she used to be a Eucharistic minister. Any questions in regards to the criminal case or any questions about Danny's organization? Thank you. Thank you. G.A. Peach says, bless you both, your families, our president and America.
That's yes.
Thank you.
That's good.
Thank
You.
Joey Brooklyn says, love and respect, Danny. Awesome. Love that prayer at DutyRon. There you go. Yeah, it's all about, listen, the channel is all about love and respect here. And we do, we do let everyone voice their opinions here. As long as it's done in a respectful manner. I don't care what your religious faith is, what your political beliefs are. We don't get political here because it always leads to an argument, and you can agree with me on that, Danny. So we tend to stay away from that.
Well, like you're reading that and you're saying, how everybody's all positive. When it was first broke with my councilman, he put it out there and it started getting a couple of negatives, not in a bad way, just people voicing their opinion. But then some, people I know were coming to my defense, which I didn't need it. And that's one of the dangers of the, social media, that, people say whatever they want and you can't interpret. You don't know what the person's truly saying. So I figured it was very important for me to put out the story and to, make it as clean and quick as possible. But then at the very end, I ended it with saying that please don't respond to any comments, negative or positive, if you're unfamiliar with the person, because of 2 reasons. One, because it could be one of my friends and we have a very good relationship and good sense of humors. Right. And 2, if it is one of the, misguided people, you're arguing with them, all you're going to do is you're going to add to them thinking that they're right because they got somebody to argue with them. So the best is
Fuel to
just
the fire. Yeah.
if it's a negative comment, just let it go. And if you
Ignore it.
see multiple and you see people going back and forth, well, then they're my friends. So it's it, it's the same as that night. That girl, if she took a second to read the hat, it could have been a different story. It could
Right.
have been, she still
Could have
might
been
not
saying
have
happy
agreed.
birthday to you and giving you a hug.
Yes, and I don't know if it was on the Channel 11. I think it was on the Channel 11 where I talked about the two young couples that were walking by, and the girl saw the hat from a distance and she didn't like it. I could see it on her face, but when she got closer, she saw it and she realized that it was make 50 great again. So she smirked. When she got close, I said, "You like the hat?" And she said, "Yes, I do like the hat. Happy birthday." So I was like, "Oh, that's great." I said, "But you didn't like it a second ago." And when I said that, she agreed and she said, "Nah." She goes, "I was going to ask you to take it off." And I said, "Well, why would you actually take it off?" She goes, "Because it's offensive." So I said, "But what's offensive about it?" And she's just like, "Well, it's offensive." And that just was our broken record. And
Yeah.
I said, "Well, I thank you for saying happy birthday." The girl last night, spun me around and punched me right in the face, and took my hat out. How dare you? So she was adamant how that was wrong and how that is no way to react or anything else. But she did add that that should be a reason why you shouldn't wear it, that, that people react that way. But I said, but why can't I? I said, people wear Bernie hats. I don't see anybody going after them and Hillary and all these different
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she couldn't answer me with why it was offensive. She just kept saying reusing the word that it was offensive. So
Right.
the night goes on. About an hour later, she's leaving. And when she's leaving, I just said, "Have a good night. Pleasure talking to you before." And she agreed. And she just said, "I really just wish you would take that hat off." And I said, "But why is it offensive? Just tell me why it's offensive." And again, she just used the same word. It's offensive.
Right.
So I told her, I said, before she left, I said, "Listen, if you gave me a reason, and I don't care what the reason was, even if I totally disagreed, even if I felt it was like pulled out of thin air, if you gave me a reason, I would have most likely taken it off because I don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable. But if you're using
We're here to
talking
have a good
points,
time. You were here to
yeah,
celebrate your birthday.
yeah, but if you use talking points, and that's the
Right.
thing is everybody wants to use talk. Like I can give you a reason for everything I do in life. Might not be the greatest reason, but I can give you a reason for everything I've done.
Right.
And I'm willing to own or listen to mine or somebody else's opinion. I'm ready to be passionate for why I feel in something, but I will also listen to somebody, and if they can
I'm
give
the
me a
same
reason
exact
good,
way. I'm the same way.
and I'm willing to change,
Yeah.
adjust, not change my views completely,
Right.
but I'm willing to adjust them if I
Yeah.
realize, wow, I never looked at it that way.
Yeah. I, if everybody would act like that, I don't think we would have as much nonsense going on like that.
No, we didn't have this nonsense
Right.
back in 2015.
I know. I know. Listen, I like I say it many times. Like if I didn't vote for a president and he became president, like Obama,
Yes,
I didn't go and bash him. I was in warrants. I was dignitary trained. So
exactly.
when United Nations General Assembly came and Obama's plane landed and the helicopters came in at the heliport, I was there, put my life on the line, and I respected the office. I respected that he was my president. I didn't vote
And
for him,
another thing,
but I never said he's not my president. I always said this is the president of the United States, and I'm going to respect him.
But Ron, on another thing like that, if you happen to be on one where he was ahead of schedule and he had a moment, he went over and he started shaking hands with all the detail and taking pictures with the detail. That picture would be hanging in your house
You bet
right
your
now,
ass
probably.
it would be. Oh yeah,
Because it's the president of the United States. I don't care if it's a president you voted for, but
yeah,
you would never disrespect and you wouldn't pass it on to your children. You would explain to your children, I wasn't a big fan of him, but I give him respect because he came over, he introduced, like not
yeah.
introduced, but he shook everyone's hand.
Oh
He
yeah.
took the moment. He was a human being,
Thank
a
you for
good
the
man.
super
He just
loves.
wasn't on the same political views as me.
Right, exactly. And like I said, expanding on that, Guy and Jackie, thank you again for the $5 super chat. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Again, like many of the things that he did, lighting up the White House purple for when Prince died, right? But when one of us got killed, he wouldn't light it up blue.
Yeah.
Those are things that blew my mind, but I never would go and start loudspeaker in it and saying, F him, he's no good. I just kept it in my pocket and I just said, okay, this is what it is. It is what it is. What am I gonna gain by kicking and screaming like a little kid when you put your children in a timeout, or if you say, oh, I have to correct you because you're wrong. Nothing gets done by that. So
No,
I've always, I've always gone on the platform of, hey, there's certain things you can't change, and there's certain things that you can, and you fight the battles that you hope that you can win. But when you have people that are struggling with each other because of their political lines, that's a dangerous situation. And there's the direct results. Right, well, where are you? Right over here. Right, what happened to you? These are what would it have been if she was really over the top and stuck a knife in your back or in your side or shot you? Now we'd be talking about a, God forbid, horrible situation here where we could have had you dead or injured or hurt really bad. And meanwhile, you have your son who you have to take care of. And this woman knew nothing about you, just like you said. She knew nothing about you. You are one of the kindest, most giving people that I know. You're out there. You did a job that was a thankless job for 20 years. You went out there every day putting your life on the line. And I'm not tooting your own horn because I did the same thing, and she had no idea who you were or what you were about. And had she gotten the chance to know you, you probably would have wound up having a fun time that night and being friendly with her and having a great old time.
I think we would. Usually how the night ends up if people give each other a chance.
Exactly. So our point and your point is well taken here. But again, I appreciate everyone putting the NYPDWAWO.org. That's With Arms Wide Open. I encourage everyone to go and check out Danny and Merritt's website, contribute to it, positively interact with it. Let them know that you're from the DutyRon family. Me, Danny, and Merritt all worked in the same command together. We are brothers in blue, and I'm proud to say that we're still friends. We may not talk every day, we may not hang out all the time, but he knows and I know that, and I'm living
The
proof
phone
of it.
call away.
Yeah, when my mom passed away, I called him and he was like, Ronnie, if I could be there, if I could work things out with the wife, with coverage with with the kids, I'll be there. And sure enough, he was there. The day before Mother's Day is when I buried my mom. It was a Saturday, and Danny was right out in front of the church at Holy Spirit in New Hyde Park, playing the bagpipes in honor of my mother. And I thank you for that, Danny. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Coming out and doing that. So, guys, if you don't have any more questions, I'm going to conclude this live stream. We will do more, Danny. I have. Remember Dennis Desmond? Remember Desmond?
Yes.
Yeah, he's on the channel a lot. I'm surprised he's not here tonight, but he comes on a regular basis. Ralph Sarchi is
Ralph,
on. Good old Ralph. I mean, everybody knows Ralph. I'm going to have him on one night. We're going to talk about some of his stuff that he does with the paranormal. And Infinite Beauty, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Support fathers/men's rights. I'm with that. Amen to that. I like it. I say we support everybody, but it's a great message. Thank you, Infinite Beauty.
Thank you for the super love.
That's my automated message. Super love, super chat. So these are donations that are coming in, Danny. And like I said, I'm going to forward these donations to you and your organization, and I will probably wind up meeting or exceeding those. So I'll present Danny in a week or so with the proceeds from this broadcast. And you can
thank you, Ron, and thank you to all your subscribers.
You're welcome. Guy and Jackie, thank you for the $10 super chat. Again, if you send PayPal donations, just mark on it with arms wide open, so this way I know and I see it, and I will forward that to Danny as they come in. Again, thank you so much for being here, Danny. It's a pleasure and an honor. I hope your face heals up. It's funny. Before we close, I just want to let you guys know, because Danny, you didn't even mention it, but we spoke about it before the live stream started. He is experiencing more trouble with his face. Calcium, I think, is building up in his left cheek. You could see it in the video. This is a very crystal clear Zoom meeting video. His cheek is got some calcium starting to collect, and we both feel that he may have possibly broken a cheekbone or have a broken bone underneath that surface from the result of this attack. So he's going to be going to get further medical assistance and look into that. So I'm hoping that all goes well, and maybe you keep me updated so I can, keep all my people updated on you.
Yes, I will. My wife's a physician's assistant. And that night she told me we got to go to the hospital, and
It looks.
I didn't want to. I didn't want to interrupt anybody's weekend or anything else like that. It was just starting, so I decided to, tough it through. But it's like I could feel a considerable, and it's like it's bone. It's hard compared to over here.
Yeah.
So it's indicating that something was fractured, or there's a chip someplace or something.
There's some kind of
So-
trauma underneath there for it to swell up like that. So
And it's hard, so it's not going away. It's not like swelling. It's
and
not
this-
swelling.
Yeah, this assault took place February 7th, and we're today is the 18th, going on the 19th.
Yes.
So it was a good time ago, and I hope that
Yes.
I hope that all works out, Danny. Anybody else have any closing remarks or anything like that? Yeah, people are saying they could see it. You could see it on your cheek. So,
Yeah.
thank you, Guy and Jackie from Canada. I believe Guy and Jackie are up in Canadians at DutyRon and Danny. Thank you for your service. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we're going to close it out. Danny, I'll talk to you soon. We'll keep in touch.
Yes.
As I always say, subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all one word, DutyRon. Follow Danny on Facebook. That's Daniel Patrick. Go to his NYPD WAW with arms wide open. That stands for .org, and contribute to his great organization. Thank you again, guys. All God bless America, and good night, everybody from New York City.